Rolling.
Okay, we're back with the basics of the camera. So come over here and look at the screen. Okay, to review, if we click the menu button back and forth, we go from seeing actually what's coming into the camera to the menu. Okay, we can also click the shutter halfway and that'll take us to the view. Alright, now if you look at the bottom here, there's some numbers and they all mean something about the light coming in and how the camera is processing the light. Okay, so this one number over here all the way on the left, okay, you get on this side.
Yeah, I'm trying to get
This number on the left is the shutter speed. Okay, that 100 means 1/100th. So you put a 1 over that. So that's 1/100th of a second. Now, if I want to change that, by default, this little wheel over here lets you don't have to press anything. You literally just, now let's see, I moved it to the left and it went down. Now it's an 80th of a second. 60th, 50, 40, 30, all the way down. Okay. Now, when you're doing film, it doesn't let you go below 30, a 30th of a second. Okay, that's how fast it's snapping light. Okay, so the basic logic is the faster the shutter speed is, the less light is coming and hitting the sensor. Okay, so if we need more light, we want to go higher, like open keep the aperture open longer. Okay, so if we want less light, we'll go up 60th, 100th. In that direction is less light. Okay, all right. So that's one way to control the amount of light hitting the sensor, and this goes up to 4,000th of a second. I can't even imagine that span of time, but it's how could they figure out how to do an aperture at 4,000th of a second? But advantages of a high shutter speed are it's great for capturing movement. So if somebody's dancing or running, or if you're shooting outside and people are moving, for still shots, 4,000th is great for catching like somebody throwing a cat or or a cat trying to knock you over. Okay, but with film, you're generally going to be keeping it down in the like 1/25th, 600, all there. Okay, so that's how you adjust the shutter speed. Okay, any questions on that? Does that make sense? Okay, the next number over is the size of the aperture. This 22, I actually don't know what it means, but it's a ratio. So here's the weird thing about aperture, is the larger the number is, the smaller the aperture is. Remember that? Okay. So and now to change this number, we have to hold down this button over here, the AV button. Okay, hold that down and then use your little scroll thing. Okay, I mean your
at the same time.
wheel at the same time. Okay, so I'm holding this down, and this is great. So when you want to go back and forth between the two, all you have to do is just that's your shutter speed, and now here's aperture size. Okay, the largest aperture size is on this. Now you notice when I opened it up big, the number went down, more light came in, and you can now see through. See how the image came on? Mm-hmm. Okay, so 4.0 is the largest aperture size on this camera. I had a friend tell me that I should really get a lens that's 2.8 because that's really helpful for shooting indoors. So that means it's a way larger size aperture and it's going to let more light in. So one of the things I'm going to do eventually is hopefully get one of those. But there's other things I can do for shooting indoors. Even though, like for instance, now I've got the aperture wide open. So what could I do? I could lower the shutter speed down, right? And so I'm able to preview the image while I'm doing this. Oh, that looks good. Okay, now, so the third element is the sensitivity of the sensor, which is called ISO. Over here on the right, see it says ISO? So the higher the number, the higher the sensitivity. Lower the number, right? Lower the sensitivity. So when you're shooting outside and you have lots of light, you use a lower number. When you have low light situations, like in a club, you want to put that number up, okay? So if I was shooting in a club, the way you change your ISO is you press this ISO button on the top. Show them. Okay. There's a button that says ISO. You click it once, and it brings it up, and then use your little wheel. Now you notice how when I'm going up higher, it's becoming overexposed because that sensor is now like, whoa, really sensitive to light, And you can use that artistically. Sometimes, it's really cool to like overexpose. So But for this, here's the disadvantage with a high ISO. The higher the ISO, the grainier it is. So, your goal is to try to balance these three elements to get the best looking shot. Okay. All right. So
How did you get to that?
to the
I was
ISO.
texting.
Yeah, you press this ISO button right here. Okay,
Story
and you
of-
see it how it comes up on this. You press this, comes up, and then you use your little wheel to change it.
Okay, got it. So I know how
Yeah.
to adjust
Yeah.
what was the first one?
The first one
The
is
shutter speed.
the shutter speed, and the next
Second
one's
one is
aperture.
and the
Third one is
the
ISO.
And
Okay.
those are the numbers across
Yeah,
the middle?
yeah. Now you notice I skipped something. This little thing in the middle here is a light meter. And now, what you'll do, what this is like basically a guide to tell you when you have the best exposure. So this is going to be used when. What'd you do that for? Quinlan, boy playing with the camera. Okay, so let's go back to now. If you notice, I half clicked it. That brought me back to my preview image, like what's actually happening here in the room. Okay, so this is the light meter. Now, you can use this as a guide to tell you when the lighting is best. And the way you do that is you half click it, and see the little line that came up in the bottom there? Okay, the best light is going to be when that little line at the bottom there is in the middle or to the left of the middle a little bit, okay? Because in film, you want to underexpose. It's better to underexpose rather than overexpose, okay? That's just sort of a thing that I was taught in photography. So right now it's overexposed, so I need to reduce the amount of light. So I can just play with my elements depending on what I want to do. So I want to get that little line thing right there to go to the left. So I'm gonna increase the shutter speed. Okay, now let's check it again. See, it went down, right? See it going down? Are you getting it, Quillen? Okay, right there is ideal. Okay, the only thing I haven't done is focus. Okay, so that's enough for a unit, like right there. That's a video right there, how to basically set the three elements on this camera. And any camera, this is what you need to be able to do. ISO on a film camera would be ASA, the kind of film that you've bought, if there's anybody out there that still buys film. Okay, so let's pause it there. That's how you do that.